Hello everybody and welcome to SMS Southern Styles. I am today's host, Mrs. Taylor, and today I'm going to be showing y'all how to paint space. The basics of how to make a space starry night painting. So the colors that I am going to be using today are going to be black, brown, white, red, orange, yellow, purple, light purple, and blue. And I will be mixing these colors up together. The reason my light purple and purple are categorized differently is because this is a very dark, spacey looking purple, and my light purple that I have is the complete opposite. And I am unable to make the space purple as light as what I need this to be. Going to get started on it. My paintbrush that I am using one that I'm going to be able to actually press the brushes down, because that texture that you will get from that at the end is going to help with the creation of this painting. The paint that I'm using is just acrylic paint. So we are going to start off with our lighter colors. And my lightest colors that I'm going to be using, and white in this instant does not count as a lighter color, because the white is what's going to make our stars. And if we use white, just straight white, as any base, it's not going to look right. But my lightest colors that I'm going to be using is going to be this light purple and this yellow. And it does not matter where you start at, but do keep in mind that I'm going to be painting mountains also once I'm done with the night sky, and my mountains are going to take up about this much of my canvas. So I'm not going to waste time and waste material painting anywhere down here, since I'm already going to be painting a mountain. I'm going to go ahead and get my dark purple out. Now, with me still having a little bit of that purple, I'm going to go through and I'm going to lightly press it down. And it's going to go all the way around. Now you see the texture that my paintbrush is already making. And you can already see how that's blending in well. I'm going to go behind it, just so that way when the paint is still wet, I can get it to blend in nicely. Now, still with that purple on my paintbrush, I'm going to get a little bit of black, and I'm just going to dab it on the sides of it and then work it in, so that way the darkest part of the black doesn't get mixed into the purple. So I want it to slowly get mixed in together. Now I'm going to go back in with the dark purple with the black still on my paintbrush. I'm going to do a light coat of it, and I'm going to dab that around the edges. And that is how we're going to basically make all of our colors together. Now at this point, I am done making that little piece of it. I am going to wash off my paintbrush. Make sure I get all the colors off of it and damp it dry. And now we're going to start with the yellow. Now if you, well, I'll show y'all what I mean by that once I get to it. There we are with the yellow. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to do multiple layers with this one. We have the yellow. Now I'm going to go behind it with orange. And once again, same thing. Yellow still on my paintbrush. We're going to just get a little bit of that orange on. And we're just going to dab it through. And now we are going to get red, because if you do the black right on the orange, it looks weird. You can do it with the purple, but the only reason why is because of the color of purple that I used. But usually you'll have to do about 3 layers of colors before you can get to the black. And once again, still with the paint on my paintbrush, I'm going to go through and I'm going to hit it with the red. And you see the beautiful shadings and colors that it's getting. I'm going to leave that there because that orange is not going to look weird with the black on it. But if I use that orange right on the yellow, it wouldn't look as pretty and it wouldn't give it as much as the feeling. And now we're going to go through with black. Once again, to do with the paint on the paintbrush. I'm going to go back with the red again. And we are going to go with orange. And now at this point, you'll want to wash that black off of your paintbrush. Then you're going to want to wash that paint off your paintbrush again and go back in with the yellow. And then work it all the way out. See? Now we are going to do the purple again, but this time I'm going to add blue to it, so that way y'all can see the effect that that brings. So we are going to go through and we are going to do the light purple. With the light purple still on the paintbrush, we're going to go and do the dark purple surrounding it. Now we're going to go and put blue around it. Blue that I have is a light blue. It's not going to be a dark blue. Once again, with the purple still on the paintbrush, we're going to go through with the blue. And the layering that we did with the yellow and the red is what we're going to do with this one. There's the blue. We're going to go back in with the purple. And then we're going to go back in with the light purple. Now we're going to wash off our paintbrush, and we're going to do black around that. And I didn't dry my paintbrush off enough, and that's why it gave it that weird watery look. So just make sure you dry your paintbrushes off very well. Now all I'm doing is just going through and adding black. All around the painting. Now if you want this to look brighter and more colorful, so I did the same thing with this, just don't add any black to it, just keep using the color scheme. So once you have the purple done there, and so you start with the yellow and have the purple and the red collide with one another. I want this to look more darker, so that's the reason why I'm using the black behind it. But if you want this to look colorful and whimsical, don't worry about adding any black. And I also know that right now it does look a bit weird, but it's also because I haven't added in the stars yet, and that also makes a big difference. So I'm going to have to let the paint dry, and then we're going to come back in and start painting in the stars. Now I did leave this all open because once again I'm going to draw mountains here, and this is the shape that I'm going to use for my mountains, and I'm going to draw my stars in first before I draw in my mountains. Now that the painting's dry, we're going to go and we are going to add in the stars. And this is a very messy process. As you can tell, I usually get paint all over the place. I'm going to try and not make it a messy process today, just for the fact of where I'm currently making this video at. I don't want to get paint everywhere. We'll see. With this one, you're going to want to get your paintbrush a little bit wet. just a little bit, not too much, but enough to thin out the white. Because we are going to splatter this, and you can use your finger to make the paint splatters. Usually what I do is I just hit my brush and, well, paint kind of goes everywhere. Not kind of, it goes everywhere. I did use a bit too much water, as you can already tell from it bundling up. So I dried off my paintbrush, and we're gonna do it again. See? Much better. Now I do want these stars to go at certain angles. It helps. And just having the stars as a background also helps. And I'm going to give these time to dry, and then I'm going to do another layer on top of these, because once you keep layering on, they'll look better. And also these big pieces that I have right here are multiple water paint splatters that have just bundled up together. So I'm going to give it time to dry, and then I'm going to do one more furious splat of white paint. And then I'm going to go through with a white paint pen that I have and add in some finer details to the stars. It makes a difference. I went ahead and I did my second coat of stars, and it didn't take that long, and it was the same thing that I've done before. What we are going to do now is I am going to make my mountains. I'm just getting my paintbrush for them ready to go. So how I'm going to do my mountains is, first I'm going to make gray. I'm going to take my white, put it over there. I'm going to take my black and put it over there as well to make my gray. I'm afraid I used a little bit too much black in it. Let's hope not. Perfect. I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to just make squibbles. I'm going to paint all of it my base gray color. Now I'm going to go through with white as the highlight, which I need to use this brush for. So the brush that I'm using is slightly tinted, and this is going to be for my highlights for my mountain, and I'll have it blend in. That's basically all that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to make different layers of different sorts. Whenever I find that I enjoy the way that mountain looks, then we'll that's going to be the one that I do, like right here. I like the way this one looks. So, just going to add some white. Just do some highlights. Nothing more to it. Now I'm going to want to have a little just hump somewhere over here to give the mountain more texture, more feeling. That's all this is. Now this little corner right here, I'm going to add a little black to it. Not a whole lot, just a little. Just so it knows that there's a shadow creeping in right over there. You see how much more that gives it? And I'm going to be, I don't have a good paint palette, so I'm going to be using a lot of my hand and a lot of my arm in order to mix these colors together. Right over here. Go right through and add some white, some gray. Add a bit of white highlight. To make it seem better. Right here, I'm going to add some white because I like the way that this looks. You can already tell that my gray is dried up over there, so I'm going to add some more in. Work my white into the gray that I just added in. Then what I did over here with the shadow, so I'm going to do right here real quick. It's a little shadow. I have some gray on my arm that I'm going to use to mix in that little shadow that I made. I'm going to go through and I'm going to re-highlight this portion of it. I'm going to do little titter-tats. Kind of looks like snow on the mountaintops. Just a little. So it gives it more texture, more feeling. I'm going to do the same movement over here. Look how beautiful that already looks. Now, I need to blend this in better. So I did stop halfway through, start working on the other part. Now, I'm going to hold up on working down there. I'm going to get this part of it done. And I'm going to add in my white. And we already know that the gray is dried up. Once I add in my white, we're going to go in with some gray a little bit underneath it. And we're just going to work the colors into one another. go through. I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow right here underneath it. And we're going to add some gray. We're going to work it upwards. I need to add a little bit more black. I used a little bit too much gray for that. There we go. Just a nice shadow. Now we're going to go through with the white again, up on top. We're just gonna kind of work it down in like how we did with those. This one is going to be a bit different. Just because I am using way too much light and what I need to. That's okay. We'll go back in with the gray. I'm going to make another rock out to about right here. Just going to go with the black. And we're going to go with that right above it. Just going to work that into the gray on top. Then we're going to get the white. We're going to do the white, put it up here. It's going to go down all the way to there. Go and get the gray back. We're just going to work it all into each other. Now I have my white, and I'm going to go back through with my white. Just look at that. How lovely that is. I'm going to go with my white once again. We're just going to cover up the top of this. Did use a little bit too much white on that, but we'll make it work. I'm going to come in with the gray. Just work it all into each other. Going to go in with the white, so I want another mountain to be about right here. There we go. We're going to go in with the gray right behind it. Work it downwards. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of black. We're going to go right on top and create some little shadow all the way through here. Need a little bit of gray. going to add a bit more white. A little bit too much white. We don't need a whole lot, just a smidge. Just a smidgy. Texture. It seems like it has snow on it. Now we're going to work on our last one. I'm going to add in white to it. I'm going to add in black down here at the bottom. I'm going to add in some gray. I'm just going to work that in. Going to go in with more white. And that right there is space with some mountains. All for watching, and I hope that you'll have a wonderful week.